Following on from yesterday's review, today is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in Soft Ivory. So this I also mentioned, I can't remember if it was on a YouTube video or it was on Instagram, but I did mention somewhere, and I kind of already showed the way that it works and stuff, but I want to do this as part of this series. So if you don't know already, I'm doing a different, oh, I forgot that it was like this. I'm doing a different foundation every day. If you want to see the other two, I will link them below for you. This one says it helps eliminate white particle reflection, so like flashback. I'm not 100% sure that it does a lot of other things, but we shall see. And Wet n Wild is cruelty free. So we have an extra child with us today who is going to be arriving imminently. So I'm hoping to get this part done before the noise starts. To be fair, this particular friend of Milo's is not a noisy child at all. He can come as often as he would like because it's like bringing a babysitter into the house. For me, when his friend came last time, they kind of played, they went outside, they had their lunch, very quiet, just occupied themselves. I checked on them, totally fine, no like big banging and screaming, and I got to watch One Tree Hill and do a bit of blogging and editing. It was amazing. Depends on what your kid is like. Like if you've got a loud kid and it doesn't bother you, I don't think it's that big a deal. But my children, I say my children aren't, but let's face it, it's probably because I hated the loud noises that we didn't do that. But it's not what I'm used to. I'm used to the quiet kind of, or the let's talk kids, the kids that want to chew your ear off about all the different dinosaurs they know the names of. I'm used to that rather than the very boisterous. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you're not used to it, it's a lot. So as we've said on the previous days, it tends to be, this is a bit of a lighter, more natural finish with the sponge, and then a little bit heavier, and it's not necessarily a worse finish on this side. I do think that as the day goes on, if you are oily like I am, then this side tends to look a little bit better than it does when you first apply it. And depending on how it looks at the beginning, it could end up being the better side, but definitely lighter and more natural, a little bit heavier and higher coverage. So just from like first impressions, I feel like this is very natural. I like it in theory, but I don't think the coverage is the most even. I have a decent amount of pigmentation, so we can kind of see through my skin. I haven't got a problem with that, but I also feel like you can see, I mean, this is new anyway. I feel like I've got kind of like a darkness here. This is something I haven't noticed until this very moment, but I can kind of see right through to that, which is strange. Honest to God, I mean, this is new. I'm now wondering, because obviously I look at myself head on, that's not something I'm going to notice so often, but I'm now wondering whether or not it is just because the coverage is so spotty, because I feel like this part of my face has nothing on it. Like if I look really closely in the mirror, it kind of looks like this is where the foundation ends and then there's just nothing. But then that might be that it's just super lightweight and it looks like skin. I don't know. Not a lot in the way of coverage on this side, but it is a nice finish. This side, a heavier coverage, but then, you know, what comes with that is like slightly drier areas where it kind of like settles and it's not so pretty around the nose, under the eyes, that kind of thing. But it is heavier on this side. I'm just going to pop on a little bit of concealer. It's going to be the collection, I always want to say collection 2000, Lasting Perfection concealer. In kind of related news, I had a laser session for some of my pigmentation earlier this year and it was very effective, but I feel like because of the large area, it was a bit of an ad hoc procedure. I need to perhaps go back and like redo that a little bit. There was just a little bit back here that was like a real big dark, a little bit that was a real big dark kind of brown area. And I couldn't believe how easy it was for her to remove it. So I'm thinking once the summer is totally over, which it pretty much is now as you watch this, I'm thinking of going in and having like all of the little areas of my face. So I've got like little bits here, little bits here, little teeny bits. It's nothing that like majorly bothers me. But then from time to time, I think, if I do it now, maybe I can kind of keep on top of it. Would you guys be interested in a kind of follow me to the procedure type video? Because when I did have that other bit removed, people did ask questions and I did get a little bit of video about it, but I wasn't prepared at the time. And this time it would be a lot of different areas that I was doing, so it may be more useful. Let me know. It is clinging to some kind of areas on the inner corners of my eyes. Also, I thought that yesterday I had a little bit of kind of, it kind of looked like dryness, but I suspected perhaps it was something from when I'd been asleep. You know, like when you lie down and maybe like your eyes are watering or whatever. But obviously I wash my face in the morning and I just kind of put it down to that. And it's again there today. And now I'm thinking maybe it is just dryness, because both times it was in exactly the same area. And I don't sleep on this side, so it would just make none of it makes sense. And I'm thinking that I have got some bizarre temple dryness, which this is also clinging to. I'm going to put on a little bit of powder to set, but not enough that hopefully it has any impact on the foundation itself. Some blush and a different mascara today. It is the Maybelline Snap Mascara. Bought this a while ago and haven't really used it very much, and I just don't like it, to be honest. I'd forgotten. I just don't like it at all. It's not for me. I find that it's too wet, doesn't really kind of create anything in the way of lashes, and on both eyes I got it all over my eyelid. I mean, that is a thing that I do, but this is worse than normal. Oh my god. I had to put concealer on my eyelid, that was horrendous. And then I went back in with my favourite Lash Sensational. Same lip, the gloss stick from Soap and Glory. And let's come in for a closer look. This little thing here, right down there, same as the other side. You could be forgiven for thinking that this was like, I mean, it's coming from my eye. Are my tears toxic or something? Because right here, just kind of like, it's dry skin. What is this all about? What is happening to my face? Anyway, here's the up close look. I don't think it's too bad. It's not a tremendous amount of coverage. It's not immediately like, I hate this. I feel like perhaps it will settle a little bit underneath my eyes, but that's kind of part of the course at this point. Maybe it's just my eyes. But I do think that if you had more dry areas than I do, it might be a problem, because there's certain areas where I do struggle with that. It is kind of like around this area, around that area, around that. What is this all? My face is falling apart. In those areas, it is really clinging. So something to bear in mind. I will come back to you later on to give you my final thoughts after it's worn for like 6 to 7 hours. We'll see how far I get. Or if something crazy happens in the meantime, maybe I'll let you know between now and then. But yeah, stay tuned for the verdict. I'm back. It's been at least 7 hours, and I am very, very oily. More oily than I would say I was with any of the other ones that we've talked about this week, which, as I said, is not a major issue. It's not a deal breaker these days. However, if I was this oily at some point during the day, I would blot or repowder. So in a second, I'm going to do both of those things. And I'm going to see how this kind of fares with that, because everything else I've shown you, it's kind of a glow, maybe a little bit too shiny on the head, but I can kind of deal with it. This would need to be dealt with. This is too much for me. Like when it's too much. So, what I've just noticed when I looked in the mirror is it's kind of gathered around my nose, which is not what I want. You know, we're looking past the oil right now. Around my chin, it's not so bad. The weirdest part is up here. Let me see if I can, because of the shine and the light, it's kind of like, it's like working against me because the light is like bouncing off my head. Can you see here? It's like weirdly gathered in the middle of my forehead. What is that all about? I'm trying to like, is it, there's not a specific line there. Like I get lines here. There's maybe like a little bit around here. This is an odd place for foundation together, and yet it's a strange one. Also in the corners of my eyes. That's not cute either. So I'm going to blot. This is what I do. You know, judge me all you like, this is what I do. So if it comes to, let's say, the middle of the day at work and I'm very, very oily, when I go to the bathroom, I'll take some tissue paper and I just blot my face. I don't tend to reapply makeup when I'm at work. Maybe if I was out, but not at work. That would be very strange for me, very unusual. So let's say I was to blot, because that's what I do. See how, number one, oh, that's not so bad. Not a tremendous amount of transfer, not a tremendous amount of product has come off, because that's something that I kind of judge a foundation on as well. When I do that, often when I take the tissue off my face, it's like, wow, a lot of makeup has left my face and is now transferred onto the tissue. That's not so bad. On the other side, we're going to powder. So I'm not going to blot, I'm just kind of going to repowder a little bit and just see whether or not this works. Oh, up here. Can you see there? That's not what you want. I would say the blotting side definitely looks better. I thought I was just filming and I wasn't. And I don't remember what I didn't say. All in all, this is not a bad foundation. I definitely came into this thinking that it was. I think that my first impression was poor. And it just goes to show that although it's not the best foundation in the world, for sure, it could be better. But for the money, and if you take the time to kind of retouch throughout the day, you apply it with the beauty blender, I think that is a big thing. It's basically, by the end of this month, I'm gonna be like, so the tools you need are sponges, and that's it. I'm a convert, I'm a recent convert. I don't know if you can tell. It's not gonna be something that you're necessarily gonna pick up and it's gonna work for you straight away, but if you are willing to put in the time to find how it works best for you, I don't think it's a bad foundation, and I think that I kind of dismissed it too quickly, which is what's so great about these kind of things, because a first impressions doesn't really give you a review. It just tells me today it didn't work, but there can be a variety of reasons why it didn't work on that day. And today, I would say this is not bad, especially for the price. Let me know how you found this, if you've enjoyed it, if you've not enjoyed it. I know when I did say I didn't like it, lots of people agreed with me, but you know, it's different for everyone. So if you do enjoy it, let us know how you apply it, what kind of skin you've got. I know that I can only speak for oily skin girls because I don't have particularly dry skin, but I am trying to kind of build that into my reviews where there are kind of areas where it clings. If it clings on my skin, it's not going to be great for dry skin, I wouldn't say. So I will try to build that in as we go, but for now, I would probably give it a 5 out of 10.
Every time I'm going out, the same things keep happening.